Hey, Jackie.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing well. So, about time we do a Q&A, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Since we have been getting a few questions here and there on the social medias and the like. So
Yes.
we definitely want to let our listeners know that we are listening. So let's slam out some Q&A questions. Does that sound like a fun time?
That always is fun. Do you want to ask me how to make your hair look like this?
Well, okay.
Because I can totally do your hair.
Step one, have hair. That would be the best. That would be the best step for me.
Yes.
So
This is my friend Lizarino Brickley. These are her signature buns. She's a bun lady.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a bun today.
Those are glorious buns.
Yeah, I was really excited. I sent her a picture because she bought me the headband, and she was like, she was really excited about it.
I just realized what I said, that you have glorious buns.
Yeah, you did. And you never see my buns on this.
That's terrible. Terrible.
First time you've seen the buns. I'm really excited that I'm enjoying some buns.
For some reason, and it's not just because of your last cosplay or whatever, but the way they are and the color just makes me think of Care Bears for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Hillary in our group, Becca drew her with buns and Liz's character. So two characters had buns. Yeah. And Hillary had this wig made. This girl made it. She's really awesome. And they were like these huge, giant red buns. And when I was doing this earlier, I sort of felt that. And I was like, man, I like this. I kind of feel like a butterfly a little bit, though.
Yeah, I get that. They just look big and fluffy, and the colors just kind of have that Care Bear.
And it's all my hair, too. I just have so much going on that it was fun to do, because I've been thinking about cutting my hair off. And so I might not be able to have things like this.
You've been thinking about cutting your hair off?
Well, not like full cut, but I posted on social media about I like a collage of my different hair colors.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Of those, yeah. And I've done a lot of colors that are in the same family, just different shades like magentas or fuchsia and stuff like that. And I was wanted to see what people thought, and the consensus, most people were either a pastel or red. Like that's the hard angles. People were like pastel pink or red. So
I didn't vote, but I would throw red out there. I like the red.
Yeah, and so I think I'm gonna go red.
And it's not just because I'm a ginger and I want you to be part of the ginger nation. It's just I don't know. I thought red looked really good with just the rest of you. Red,
it was so fun, and honestly, I think I got the most hair love when I was red. Like you go to a gas station,
you get
dang, got some red hair, girl. Yeah. And guys and girls alike were just like, what a fun color. I don't know. I think I'm going to do that.
I don't get that as much as I used to. When I was a kid, right? Because I had the just flaming red. Well, not flaming, but bright red hair. And it's like when I was little, 8 or 9, it was like everywhere I went, all the old ladies were like, "What? I love your hair." Yeah. It's just like I don't know what it is about old ladies and red hair, but.
Well, you're a mutated gene, so I think that your race is dying out.
I don't get that.
You won't exist anymore. So
yeah, but my daughter Emily, though, my youngest daughter, she has amazing red hair. So I'm very proud I'm very proud.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah.
I'm very proud that she's passing on the redhead line, at least at that stage. So.
Well, if she ends up with an Indian guy, that red won't stand a chance. His genes will probably come through. So
I know, right?
Sorry, Emily. She's going to have to find a Norwegian or something.
Right. Yeah. All right. So what do we got for questions? You want to pose one first?
Okay. So the number one question that I got was about what the silicone brush that I tagged Henchman Props in on my little giveaway video. So the silicone brush is for it's people use them for glue, like glue brushes, woodworkers.
I think that the one I have, you can buy at Lowe's in the glue section.
Yeah. Harbor Freight, Lowe's. I got 2 for $6 on Amazon. And the nice thing is, turkey, or basting brushes. My mom gave me one she wasn't using. And the problem with those is they kind of have the long slathery kind of. Yeah,
they're a little more
it's harder to get the stuff out of.
They're a little more tentacly or something.
Tentacly, yeah. And so what I do is I always everything. The brush I have, for those of you that do watch the video, those of you that are just listening, you can hear it crunching apart. I just pull the silicone or pull the resin or glue off of it. But if you just yank, you'll pull the silicone little tentacles off. So what I usually do is take pliers and crunch the silicone, all mush it up together, and then just kind of weasel the parts out. And then you can just reuse this brush because, as you guys know, it's really hard to get anything to adhere to silicone other than silicone.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's awesome for this.
I also like to use those for barge. So I know a lot of people like to do the smear with an extra piece of foam like Ted uses, but actually I like to spread it with the silicone brush. And you can clean it off really easily because you just wait for the barge to kind of set up, and then you just take you just grab a part of it and just pull it off, and it all just kind of comes off in one big string.
It's actually kind of satisfying too.
I was gonna say I mostly do it because it's just fun to do. It's like,
and it'll last you a while. So like I've used it for automotive primer, like when I brush my heavy coats of automotive primer just to fill something really fast, everything, and I could just crunch it off, and it's like it's brand new. So it's I don't know, get one if you're somebody that uses resin coats
silicone brushes. Really. I'll make sure to add a link to some version of it in the show notes for people.
But I will say, if you're trying to get a smooth coat with it, that's not what this is for. It's for like
it leaves
glues
edges
or laminating resins. Yeah,
precisely.
Yeah, Epsilon in it are not that great. I have to use a sponge for Epsilon or use my glove to smooth it off.
I'm really big on foam brushes for Epsilon. So.
Yeah, I have a bunch of those.
Yeah. Buy them in bulk
so those of you that were asking, that is what this is. So I hope that it helps you with your resin coating.
Yay,
so.
for silicone
and congrats
brushes.
to Built by Brit for winning the XTC giveaway, your little XTC table. So I'm going to mail it out in the morning.
That's awesome.
Okay. I'm excited. I really like doing a giveaway, I have to say. And because I've been using so many smooth-on products and I'm a big fan of them, it's nice to send something out instead of just talking about it. And these little kits are so easy to send, so I'm going to do another one soon.
That's cool.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So,
right. Give me a question, Eric.
One of the questions I have, it's kind of a multi-part one. This is from that damn guy on YouTube.
Bro, this is a family-friendly channel.
Notice I hesitated before I said that. No. So he says, hey, Eric and Jackie, when you're planning a build, how do you figure out the scale of your parts? Like a shield, weapon, or armor? I'm in the beginning of planning a first real build and looking for some tips. Thanks in advance for your time. So do you have any tips on how you scale things?
I almost always make everything too big. Yeah. Almost always. Is that
purposely or just?
No.
Okay.
It's all the time. I've had to, this project even, I always have to scale things down. Because like in my head, I look at, I don't know, I like the big, larger than life thing, but sometimes you'll make one part too big and then realize that it like makes something else so small it just looks disproportionate. And so the scaling with like Pepakura and stuff is extremely hard. My Farrah gauntlet that I posted the video of where I coated it in Warbler and now it's smooth and it has, it's all nice and fancy. It doesn't look like Pepakura anymore. I made a tiny itty bitty one first by accident, and I scaled it up like 200%, but it needed 1200%. So,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was, or actually 806 is what I settled on. I printed it twice, or two wrong times, too small, too large, and I get y'all that you can measure and just do it right, and yeah, that's what you should do. Do I do what I should do? No, like never. And man, it gets me. So like, if you want to do things right, take the extra 45 minutes and figure everything out. Or take the extra 6 hours and fold it wrong twice and then get it right.
So, well, I just wanted to mention this real quick before I forget. If you are using Pepakura and you're having trouble with getting proportions, a friend of mine, Randy, he goes by Armor Smith or the Armored Garage.
Randy.
Yeah, he goes by the Armored Garage. He actually made software.
Oh,
like he wrote his own software called Armor Smith, and you can.
Is it on the RPF, like in a big thread?
It might be. Anyway, you can basically create a scale of yourself in the program, I think, and then you can import Pepakura files and scale them to your shape inside his software. So, for anybody that's using it, I'm not a Pepakura person, but if anybody out there is using it and you want some help with that, check out the armoredgarage.com and his Armor Smith program. So for me, I scale, if it's armor, we have torso casts of the individuals in my family, and I need to do that. I will usually pattern onto the torso cast. That gets you roughly about the same size. But if anything, things maybe turn out a little small. That's
because your kids are growing.
Well, even for stuff myself, and we talked about this with Bill and Britt a little bit, that you pretty much always end up building things twice, and so usually I don't allow for enough expansion space or whatever, and things too small, and then I have to kind of expand it and then create my patterns a little bigger for armor stuff. I have a little bit simpler way of doing things for props, and what I'll do is I'll try to find a good reference photo of the prop. I'll scale it inside of Photoshop. This requires some kind of image editing program. I'll scale it to what I think is about full size based on my height. And what I'll do is I'll scale it to me, right? So if the character is holding the sword and it looks like it would reach them to, mid waist, then I'll scale it to what, measure to my mid waist, and I'll scale it to that. And then I'll print it out full size in tiled, right? And then
tiled, what's that?
Inside the programs like Photoshop or Illustrator, and I'll do this in Illustrator too sometimes. It just depends. You can just print it to where it'll, you can go to Kinko's and have it printed full, but that costs money. So I just print it out tiled, tape it together, and then just hold it up and see if it looks proportionate to what I'm doing. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I did that with my Charlemagne and my Frostborn.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do like all those steps. I just went print to 4 pages, print to 6 pages, print to 8 pages, and figured out which one made the most sense.
Yeah, that works too, So
I took a real junky photo and did that.
And then you just kind of, I bring it into something like Photoshop or Illustrator, because you can just kind of, if it's too big, then you just kind of resize it a little bit.
I need to do that.
Print it out. Cut. If you're like think you're really close, I'll cut it out and spray glue it down to a piece of cardboard. Say like it's a sword, right? Like an oversized sword or whatever. I'll print it out, spray it down to a piece of cardboard, cut it out, and then you can actually have like a cutout of it. That's
a good idea
solid.
With like just quick. Yeah.
And then you can like hold it and see if it looks proportionate to you.
I can get down with that idea. I like that. See, I did it with like my Frostborn, just like held the paper beside myself, but I like that. That's cool.
You don't have to have software to do that. It's just a whole lot easier with it. You can do the old grid system by hand if you want, and you take a grid and you proportion.
You can also ask the designer of the item.
Yeah, sometimes they'll be helpful.
I asked how long Frostborn was.
Oh, really?
And I was like, that works. Yeah, so like, you never know when people are going to respond to you. You really don't.
Yeah,
so like
the thing.
Sometimes, and also the information might already be out there because like maybe there was a fan inside of a company that did it. So you may be able to get like Fishbone's actual dimensions and stuff. You could find that, like what they intended it to be compared to their model, you know?
But what I always do is I always try to scale to the person that is holding or using the prop. So because if you look at the props I've made for my daughters, like the Loki staff, that's a good example. It's probably quite a bit too short for me if I was being Loki, but proportionately to my daughter, who's only like 5'4", it fits her proportionately, because if I had scaled it the full size, it would be ridiculously long and large and look weird with her costume. So sometimes
it's not practical.
Absolutely.
It won't be comfortable. Like for my Farah, I looked at a model and I put a tape measure like on the top of my head and like held it all the way down to where it looked like it hit on the back of her cap, the wings. Yeah. And I was like, this is outrageous, because she's a very tall lady, and so when they were completely flat, they were really long. So like I couldn't copy her length. I had to do that on myself. Like I looked at it where it hit on her, and so like you measure it on yourself and create it. And I even still scaled it back, because even though I copied that same proportion on myself, the ratio, it wasn't going to be comfortable. Yeah. And like it was just going to be just like clunky and weird, because sometimes if a character's extremely tall, it may look good on a really tall person, and then when slightly shorter
exactly,
it'll look kind of clunky. So,
and the other thing you can do is you can look for sight lines, right? So, a good example is anything from basically video game world, because generally most video game characters are slightly elongated for whatever reason. Yeah, and so
like their arms and stuff.
Yeah. So the proportions are different, but what you really want to look at is like, okay, this piece of armor on the forearm or whatever, it's like, where does it land on the wrist? Is it like 2 inches above the wrist? Is it 2 inches below? And then you just, instead of trying to figure out what that actual measurement is, just put yours at the same place, right?
Exactly.
And then proportionately, it'll fit right to your body, because you hit all the sight lines in the correct positions. So
So I find that's definitely the best way to do it.
Yeah,
I had look at like
I had to do that a lot with my Calhoun armor because Calhoun's like really tall and curvy, and she has like these amazingly long legs, and it's like, whoa.
Just like you.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm fairly tall, but I'm weirdly proportioned. Most of my height is in my back, believe it or not. So I have actually pretty short legs for as tall as I am. So so that becomes an interesting dynamic when I go to build things. So anyway, so cool. I think that answers that question. You got something else?
No, it's the same thing. I just look at it and like figure out even if something is going to be, like I may not know the lengths, like for my shoulders for Farrah and my helmet, I knew that my shoulders needed to be 1.5 times larger than the helmet. Yeah. Like whatever I made the helmet as to fit me, I just made sure the shoulders so they look
proportionate to it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what size they are on her.
No. And that's the thing. Like looking at those proportions is probably the most, especially with like full suits of armor. Is looking at those proportions and relative to each other and relative to your body, because when it's too big, it's noticeable really quick. Yeah,
it's extreme. Yeah, and when it's too small.
Definitely.
Yeah, but, so it's definitely a good idea to just make it fit your body.
Yeah. All right. So what's our next question?
Okay. Here's a quick question. On the giveaway, I had a question on how long XTT takes to cure, like 4 hours. But if you mix it in a large amount, like say you mix 4 ounces of XTC or 3.5, because whatever, because it's a 1 to 2. If you did, or 3, why did I say 3.5? Am I retarded? Or sorry, you don't use that word. Am I slow?
Okay, hey, don't do Jackie math. Okay, there you go.
I'm pretty good at math, but that's hilarious. That just on the spot. Nope. 1 and 3 is how many numbers?
I'm terrible at math, so
I like math.
So don't.
So I'm usually pretty good at it, but what? Who's calling me from Denver, Colorado? Hush your mouth. So it takes about 4 hours, but if you mix a large cup, you mix 3 ounces or something, as opposed to 15 milliliters, then it's going to kick really fast in the cup. It's going to get hot really fast. It's going to cure really fast. That 10-minute pot life that you get in the cup is not going to be 10 minutes. So do small batches and get like the little medicine cups. That's my advice to you. I have been doing large batches for my laminating of my wings, but I'm fast. I'm just like spread it out like spatula style with 2 wooden sticks, and like that's it.
So it's like what's that name? What's that word? It's endothermic. Endothermic. It's endothermic. Like
pretty sure it's endothermic,
right? Yeah. So if you have like a clump of it, it's gonna it heats up faster than like if you pour it in a flat surface.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. And that's another trick too. Whether it's Epsilon or XTC, you can lay out like it. I use a small cookie sheet and put foil on that, but you can actually just make like a little foil tray. And once you mix it up, if you just dump it and let it spread out really thin, it doesn't have that thermal reaction because it doesn't have the mass to build the heat as quickly. So
and so and the same thing works like if I put it out in the sun on a hot day, it'll it speeds it up too. So so that's a quick answer for you though, that if those of you that are trying it. In the same question, they asked about the airplane composite wings. Yeah. And that's what I'm using it on. And airplane composite is a hobbyist. So people make like hobbyist airplanes. And I'm not talking like little bitty ones. I'm talking like big
you're talking like airplanes.
Yeah. They're not, but it's not even ones that a human flies in.
But they're like big
I didn't know this.
They're like big RC planes.
It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and there's this company called dragonplates.com that sells composites. Like if you are a high-end creator and like you have a budget, you check this site out. They sell like carbon fiber laminated, which means like there's like 1 millimeter sheets of carbon fiber on both sides laminated with a with like high density foam or vinyl foam in the inside.
That's cheap.
It's not. Yeah, of course, it's not cheap. So I started there because I just Googled wings, and then I was like, this is not working. Like I can't, it's $80 a sheet and stuff. So I, in my mind, was like, what's the poor man's trick to this? So I bought 1 millimeter Sentra in large sheets, and then extruded polystyrene foam board, and rinky dink laminated with epoxy. Yeah. And it's great. I've dropped them a couple times just because I'm clumsy, and they're great. They're super strong. So I'm really happy about that.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, or maybe they do. I don't know. But I built so my friend Alicia Vert Vixen, I built a Master Nova rifle for her a few years back, and it's actually the core of it is XPS foam. But it's actually skinned in Sintra, so it's a very similar type of thing.
Oh,
And it's like really durable and super lightweight because it's like a hard shell Sintra. And I did that so I wouldn't have to put any kind of resin coating on it or anything because I had to have it built in like less than 2 weeks. So anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to put the resin on it. Yeah. But Sintra, just so you guys know, it does like dent and take like, So I did the one coat of laminate resin on each side with XTC is all it needs to protect.
Just to kind of give it a bit of a shell so that it wouldn't dent as easy. Yeah, that's.
And then 2 layers on the edges where the foam is like, because I had to sand it, so the foam I could have heat formed and bent the Sintra, but it's just easier for me to just sand it and then coat it with 2 layers XTC. So.
Gotcha. So I just thought of something else. You mentioned that it cures faster in the heat.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes into the next question. Because I'm just thinking about something that happened to you recently.
Oh my gosh.
With the sunshine.
I want to die so much.
But one of the questions was, hey, what are some of your failures? Like something that's kind of failed on you.
Easier. What aren't my failures?
and you mentioned XTC and heat, and then that made me think of the photo you posted yesterday or the day before, and you accidentally left your shoulder pieces, right, out in the sun for too long.
A hot direct sun because it was like really hot, bright sunshine. I sprayed. So like I haven't looked into the chemical reaction that occurs here, but I know through enough mistakes, I know what things don't like each other. Yeah. And so here's what happened. So like I put XCC out on something and left it in the sun, and normally that would just speed up the curing. And I had made sure the XCC was fully cured-ish. Like it was past the time that it said fully cured. They've been done for 2 or a day and a half. So I began to spray automotive primer, and I knew in my head, because this happened to me last week also, I had already fixed this. And that's why I was like, I just think I need to get out of this game, y'all. Like, this ain't working. So I'm going to be a nomad, just roam the world, telling everyone what not to do. So I put them in the sun. I sprayed my automotive primer, which you guys know, like it has a different kind of it's alcohol is in it, right? Alcohol is like in the spray cans, the rattle cans to thin it out, I'm pretty sure, right?
Sure.
Like
we'll go with that. I'm not.
I looked it up because
there's a chemical in there.
Yeah. So I sprayed it and I was like, all right, Jackie, do not forget to go get those. Don't leave them out there because last week what happened. So I go back out there and I had luckily caught it within 30 minutes, but that was just enough because of the hot sun that it pucked, it like bubbled. So it looked like a boiled goose, just like nasty pockmarked bubbled skin. Yeah. And I had to sand all those bubbles, and you can't there's no putting those back down. It's a gas pocket, and the gas pocket comes out and it's under the XTC. Yeah. So the XTC and the primer, like they're the only 2 things that I've seen this happen with. So like when they are in high heat and it just happens. It bubbles in. Like it could have been, the internet has all kinds of solutions, and it could have been high temp. That's the thing. They always tell you don't use automotive primer in really high temp anyway. Yeah. Like there's all kinds of things. You can spray it out of, like I sprayed it out of my critter gun, and on a mild weather day, it came out fine. On a hot day, it came out chunky. Yeah.
Probably because it was drying too fast.
Yeah, and I added more thinner, and like that's still when it's really hot, it can make a big difference. So there's a lot of chemical reactions that go on with these products that even just spray paint and Volpen's book will tell you that, like polyurethane and epoxies and oh gosh, like everything you can think of, lacquers, all kinds of things that orange peel or salt flat kind of looking surfaces. So be careful what you use, but don't leave stuff in the sun. Just don't do it.
No, and you know what? I've done the same thing. I want to say it was the first sword commission I ever did, which was the Sif sword. I think it was that, and it was a nice summer day, and I was wanting things to hurry up, and I had just finished this beautiful sanding on this masterpiece and hit it with the primer, and hey, I'm going to let this, let the sun hit this for a while. Yeah. And it ended up bubbling the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's crazy
because it just I don't know. I don't know if I forgot about it and left it out there too long, or I just thought, oh, it's just, you kind of forget how hot the sun is, I think.
You do, like, yeah, and it's crazy, and also like and
it wasn't even that long, if I remember right.
Neither was mine.
And I came back to this, and it was just like all bubbly, and it was just like
and they're hard little bubbles, so it's like it's not coming out. Yeah, and so I had to sand it back down, and luckily I caught this one, so it was quick enough to be able to get it back in action. The one last week, they both had to be completely sanded back down, and like I was pretty devastated. Like I could have handled it a different. Like I stared at it for a minute, and I brought them in here, put them on the table, and just looked at it, and I was like, what are we gonna do here? What are we gonna do, team? What are we doing about this? Like we're gonna start over. We're just gonna grind it all down, or are we gonna cry? We're gonna throw it. I wanted to throw it, but I just decided, it's got to get done. So what are you going to do? Like, I messed it up. Learn from your mistakes again, and just don't do it again. Just don't.
Just keep plugging along.
Yeah, I got to keep going. So I fixed them, and they're ready to be sanded again. But
so did you sand it and then do some filler? Is that how you fixed it?
I sanded it and I did some filler, and there's a couple spots that still need filler, and I'm just I decided it was best for my sanity to stop and let them just leave them alone for a minute.
Sometimes that's the best thing.
Yeah, right? I sanded it all off, all the bubbles down.
And then you kind of get it,
so I could see the flaws, and I've left it alone.
Get it back to that point where I know I can fix this.
Yeah,
but I need to.
So I couldn't have left it bubbled, or I would have.
Really? Yeah, because it would have just driven you crazy, right? It's like I can't stand knowing that that's on there.
Exactly. So
I'm glad you and I are alike in that way, because I'm the same way. It's like I can't stand knowing that something's wrong. It's just like,
I worked on 4 a.m. just sanding them back down that day because I couldn't go to sleep. I had anxiety about it. Yeah. But so I worked on my helmet, and that, because the helmet was going so great, that made me feel better.
Well, so that's good. At least you had that to balance it out. So
yeah, and you need that, man. You really do. And my chest piece, that's going well. There's little things, that little victories, little wins, like we talked about with Bill and Britt, that help. Yeah, they really help. So
having those small things and something getting close to done or completed is definitely the easiest way for me to kind of get over those kind of what feels like a catastrophic mistake at the time. But then once you get away from it a little bit, it's like, okay, this isn't that big of a deal. It's just more time, right? And I talk about it all the time. It's like you're trading something for time. Yeah. And it's not that it's not fixable, right? It's fixable.
Mm-hmm. Everything's fixable.
It's just that time you have to give up to fix it. And I think all of us suffer from that because most of us are on some type of tight deadline, whether it's a client or a con, or I got to get this done before I go to vacation, or, one more night I have to stay up late before I go to work the next morning or whatever. And, it's just that kind of internal reckoning of okay, it's just time. I can chill and I can deal with this. So.
Yeah, you just give up. I mean, I've watched a lot of shows just trying to fill the time and make it not so bad. I watched Black Sails. I'm on Black Sails now, the new season. I finished all of Vikings, which I love. I'm so sad that's done.
Oh, I haven't seen the last season of Vikings yet.
Last season's the best. Of course.
I hope so.
Oh, it's just good. You're going to really like it. I really thought, what a great show. Yeah. So I was sad that ended. I watched Upstairs, Downstairs. It's a show on PBS.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
It's good. It had good reviews on Amazon. It's a good show. It's cute. Yeah. I watched Bomb Girls. I really liked that. I've finished these shows, I'm saying. Yeah. I'm almost finished with the new season of House of Cards. This is all on Ferret. If I added up all the things I've watched on this costume, you'd be shocked. That's how I keep up with my hours. Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, dude, what? That's a lot of hours. This guy's gonna be 1,000 hours or something.
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
So how long did that take you to make? It was 25 TV seasons.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's how I measure everything. It's all in series. It's this many seasons of this many seasons of this. Yeah. It's so funny. A couple of movies thrown in.
We don't count hours. We just count TV seasons.
Yep. How many YouTube videos I watched? I watched H3H3. This, I love them, Ethan and Hila, and I watched all of the videos on their second channel. I watched all of them, the whole thing, even to the very end. And I was like, oh man, I'm out. And so that's when you just go to the trending section on YouTube YouTube, and like you don't want to end up there.
Yeah, I know.
It's just a lot of times it's real crazy.
The black hole of trending. Yeah, I've been there many times. So I guess that answers the question of what do you do on your time when you're working away, but you have to kind of keep your mind occupied at the same time.
Yeah.
So
you have to keep your mind occupied. And I listen to like my Lich King, I'm pretty sure, was mostly made listening to the Game of Thrones audiobooks.
Yeah.
So that was fun. So like
cool.
Audiobooks are awesome too. And then Outlander audiobooks. I listened to those when I was.
I'm too cheap to pay for them though. So
no, they're on YouTube. I hate to say that. Sorry, audiobook people.
Are there really?
Well, they take them down, but like I.
But they're there for.
I don't even want to say. I don't want to say. It's bad. I download them and then I
never even thought of that being a possibility. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a note. Gotta check out YouTube.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. I don't.
Hey, we do not
support your local author. Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So do you have any?
You can use Audible.com. Not sponsored. Just
do you have another?
I hear they sponsor everyone, so like I'm just throwing that out there. I did use Audible to listen to one because they give you a free book. So like, all right,
I did too. I listened to Ready Player One on Audible. So
I should listen. I should see what their pricing is, because the downside to YouTube is a lot of times it may be low quality or this is the worst, y'all, when you're missing a section and it's been removed, so you're stuck. I'm on like the 4th Outlander book and I'm missing a section, and I'm not going to jump a whole because the videos are like 8 hours long because it's like a long recording, and you can't leave all that out. Like your characters may be dead.
So what I thought was kind of weird about Audible was, and maybe I have this wrong, so I'm sure somebody will correct me if I don't have it right, was that you pay a subscription, but you really only get like 1 or 2 free books for that month. Oh,
so you have to buy the books and have a subscription?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. So it seemed kind of pricey to me, like
because you can buy the audio on Amazon.
Yeah, so I wasn't because it was like, I don't know, $16 a month. You got like 1 or 2 books, which you know, I mean, that's like one day in the shop for me on some books, or a couple days.
So it's actually pretty advantageous to do the first month though, so you could get the 2 books, because usually the books are like $29 for like a full audio.
Yeah, I would think so. But then after you got the 2 free ones, or maybe it was only 1, I can't remember for sure.
Oh yeah, I know.
So then you'd have to pay, and it was a less amount. It was like $5 or $6 a book. But even still, something that's like, hey, it's only $16 plus 6 plus 8.
Yeah.
And you just start adding and adding and adding. So, but because I was really excited to use them because I really enjoyed the audiobook, but.
I love audiobooks. That was in the beginning of my costume making. That's what got me through, because I hadn't discovered a lot of YouTube I liked that I could listen to.
Gotcha.
And I've tried a lotot of podcasts too. Like I do like all the murder podcasts, like Serial and Up and Vanished. I love those. Oh my gosh. So
let's see. We talked about how to deal with stuff that doesn't turn out. Get back on the horse.
You just have to keep going. You gotta fake positive. I mean, like sometimes you just have to like fake positivity, like real talk.
Right.
I have this weird thing. I've said this my whole life to friends of mine. I'm like, dude, that whole fake it till you make it thing, sure, that's fine. That applies in all kinds of walks of life. But if I just convince myself that I'm going to be optimistic about something, I'm like, dude, just do it. Stop it. Get out of my head. That's a bug in front of my face. I just keep I force myself in a good mood, and it works. I've seen people force themselves in a bad mood. They dwell on something so much that they're in a bad mood.
Well, I've seen both.
I'm not like that.
I've seen both my teenage daughters do that
Yes. So. Well, that's, hormones and emotions. Sometimes they can't control themselves. Yeah. They get so caught up in something so ridiculous, but it destroys their outlook that day. Yeah. To me, I just I've put it out of my mind. I have this. I might, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm missing something in my brain, but I have such a great ability to just lock it up and toss it out and not think about it.
That's a good thing to have. I think I have a little bit of that too, for the most part.
Yeah.
I generally am mostly a positive person. I think anyway.
It's a good way to be.
So
they say we live longer.
I hope so. Let's see. Have you ever? This is from Kent Ehrman. Have you ever had any techniques or materials that you've tried that just didn't work whatsoever? Yes. Just something that was just not oops, I didn't do this right, but just something was just failure.
I got a lot of stuff that doesn't work. I mean, from tools to material, tools and materials both. Do you want to say some of yours? Then I'll talk about mine.
No, go ahead, because I'm trying to think of one.
Well, okay. Everything that says it's a foam cutter, nope. Just get yourself a blade. I'm sorry if they sell it as a foam cutter, $29, $17.
Okay, you know what? I do agree with that. Yeah, that's very true. That's
not worth it. Yeah, get yourself a sharpener and blades and cheap blade packs because nothing will beat that.
Yeah.
Also, I got this stuff material-wise. I have this stuff called Bounce. From, I don't know, it's like I have a whole bottle of it. It's Bounce, and it's like this
I've heard
rubber
of that.
coating. It can be coated up to 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
So if you're making a rock for a stage performance, sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it gets slightly humid, slightly damp, slightly moist at all, it rubs and peels off. It sticks together.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it so much. Like,
weird.
If you sweat on your costume and it gets on that spot, it like clouds up and kind of sticks together and peels right off. So it's not for me, man.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Whatever it is used for, like, sure, stage. You can make it. It's for just very specific things. It's not a costume coating.
It's not like one of those things that. I think I remember, like, maybe I'm sure I saw that posted on one of the social media somewhere. Is like, a new amazing foam coating thing.
Yeah.
And
I always buy those.
That perfect thing that we're all looking for, that we always talk about, right?
Exactly.
That one perfect product.
That's really for, like, just things. If you are making a prop that you need to throw around, or like a LARP sword, great for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's great for props, not costumes, because if it's rubbing, it's going to peel. It peels like, you peel glue off your fingers. That's how it works.
Like that, yeah.
So it's not for me. Do you have any that you're thinking of right now?
I can't really think of anything.
Okay. Let's see what else I have. I have a bunch. I just need to think about it.
Trying to think if I've tried something that just did not do as advertised.
Oh my gosh. Well, just throwback is that freaking professional spot putty, the one that has the catalyst.
Oh.
Get out of here.
Like, yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that stuff was a failure, but I found
it's a failure to me.
Really?
Now that I have been through 6 tubes of the one you recommended for me.
Yeah.
Because, dude, my Advance sells it for $8 a tube. I got it off Amazon for $2.99 add-on purchase.
I know, it's an add-on on Amazon.
Yeah, what the heck? Advance? I was in a pinch and I ran out there and I was like, oh, let me buy this $9.99.
No, it's the same way. Out. Like, we have O'Reilly's here for automotive stuff, and same thing. It's $9 a tube.
Yeah, and
we're talking about this glazing putty right here.
I love it so much. And I got one of those little, like, crank tea. The toothpaste turny things? Yeah. I put it to the bottom of the tube. That way I can, like, crank it out.
Oh, that's nice.
Get it all out,
I did get a tube of the 3M stuff that everybody's been reading
saw
about.
that you got that. I need to try that. I just bought this one to try.
Now, I will say, okay, Dynatron, huh? So I will say that, price-wise, you do get a whole lot more because there's the 2 tubes compared to each other. I mean, one's
is that half a pound?
This one is 4 ounces. The acrylic putty is almost a pound. It's
it's almost a pound. Okay,
14.5 ounces. So that's
this one is a pound. So I'm going to test this one because I want to buy the acrylic putty, but I already know it works because of what you guys have said.
Yeah, and I bought the red because the red is the medium setting. So you'll see a lot of people using the green, which is the fast. So it sets differently depending on the color is how that's set up.
Oh, that reminds me. I was watching Harrison's stream and he mentioned this something with a dolphin name, a dolphin filler. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's a filler. It's like Bondo, basically.
So why is he using that now instead of that acrylic putty?
Well, it depends on
material.
It depends on how much filling he's doing, I believe.
Oh.
So the like acrylic putty is more of a it's called a glazing putty, and that's really supposed to be for really slight imperfections. Yeah. It's more of a get your surface perfect than a heavy really fill it in. Whereas something like Bondo or the Dolphin branded stuff is a heavier duty filler for deep crevice kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
I need that.
Yeah.
For when I leave things in the sun.
Yeah. And Dolphin is just one of the better brands. If you talk to Harrison or like Steven, our friend Steven from Solo Roboto, who's really big into body filler for creating things, they really don't use the Bondo brand of stuff because it's just cheap really, when it comes down to it. And there's other companies like Dolphin out there that make a higher quality. And if you look into like the body filler world, there's like a whole thing of body filler, right?
Dude,
like,
I know.
There's like a whole bunch of companies, and I want to say like Dolphin has like 16 different kinds or something.
Yeah,
you know?
I went down a automotive finish forum, like our website, a rabbit hole, and I was like, dude, this is like
whereas like Bondo, it's like one thing, right? It's just like one thing, and then you look at Dolphin, and they have all kinds of different. It's like they set different, they have different mixtures. Some are harder than others and things like that. So you can really spend some time on body filler if you want to use that as a medium for creating things. So.
While we're thinking about things soft and sanding things, I'm assuming the soft and medium means like when you're sanding it, if it's hard or soft.
Yeah, and cure times. Some will cure longer than others because some are made to where you can blend them for a really long time, so you can smooth it out.
Like feather the edges.
Yeah. So it can be like feathered really well. Has like a longer time before it starts to kick and cure.
The stuff that you recommended to me though feathers really well. Like with nail polish remover.
Oh yeah, the glazing.
Yeah, it's really good. But I want to ask you, I bought this sponge thing. Those of you that are listening, it says it's a number 20 wet or dry sponge pad from 3M.
Yeah.
And it is. Did you know that 3M it's Miners something in Minnesota? Is what the M's are.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so weird.
I know they make a lot of stuff though.
Yeah. I bought this sponge pad and it's like, for wet, dry sandpaper. Yeah. So I like use spray glue, the 3M spray glue to like glue sandpaper to it. But is that what I'm supposed to do? Because like it doesn't have an adhesive. I could have just made this myself. Why did I buy this?
Does that not have a texture on it at all?
No, it's like super smooth. It's like really super silky soft. So I just like sprayed it with a little adhesive and put this awful sandpaper on it, which I saw Bill had on his table in one of his videos.
Yeah.
I bought a whole roll of this stuff.
The flexible stuff?
It comes in a giant roll. It's like this silver 220. It's not very, I get it's flexible and that's cool, but it doesn't last very long.
No, it doesn't. And
that makes me sad.
You can't wet sand. Have you tried wet sanding with it?
Well, I mean, I have, and it doesn't last at all. It's like done.
It falls apart.
I wet sanded with some 60 grit the other day that I shouldn't have, and it fell apart.
The grit just like falls off. It's not waterproof, basically. So the sponge that you have, generally,
what do you use that for?
Well, generally you're just going to kind of wrap it around it and just kind of hold it there and not glue it on.
Okay. That's what, see, I assumed that. I thought it was for like wrapping it and then holding it. And like, my hand cramps up so much from sanding.
You can glue it on too. Right?
Yeah. Anything I can do to like,
it's going to be harder to reuse. So.
Yeah, that's my problem with my my detail sander, the sponge pad that's on the front. Like I spray I need to use the carpet tape or something because the spray glue, it's really hard to get it worked for about 60 sandpapers and now it's starting to gum up and get really stuck. And I have to like use my blade to scrape it off. And that's a bummer.
Use some cooking spray and wipe it off.
Really?
Yeah, it'll take most cooking sprays will. It's kind of like a household use of instead of something like Goof Off or Goo Be Gone. Oh, I have
Goof Off over there. A brand new thing of it.
Or use some Goof Off. That'll take it off. So.
Okay. Wow. That's what it's used for. All right. Well, I'll do that. That'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
thanks for that tip.
And I like that flexible sandpaper for very specific things. It's not a a good general use sandpaper.
No, that's what I got it for.
But if you have any kind of like really organic shape and you don't want to, and you don't really want like specific lines from the sandpaper where like a paperback would cause problems with sanding. That flexible paper can be very handy in that regard.
The eyeballs on my shoulders, that's where I've used that. Because I can use my finger and like, it's amazing. Yeah,
because you can kind of like put it into the crevice, right?
Yeah, so it definitely, it's worth its value there. I should have never tried to use it like all the time.
Like a regular piece of sandpaper.
Yeah, but it's great for the organic surfaces. Like nothing beats it for that because I have a tendency to gouge. No matter how I fold paper, I gouge. So.
Yeah, and if you're doing anything, like I said, like organic, it's like you can't take a flat piece of sandpaper and like wrap it around the end of your finger and push it in there. It's just going to, like I said, it's just going to gouge and cause problems and make more damage than help. but that flexible stuff can be very handy in that regard. So,
Yeah.
so I use it for very, very specific things.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
So yeah, there you go. More about sanding. Seems like we talk about sanding a lot.
I mean, I can't get away from sanding. I'm so over sanding. Like, ooh. There's almost nothing in this world that has made me as mad as sanding. Like, I walk out of the shop, I'm like, what do I got to do today?
Sand.
No. Like, and there's nobody to complain to but myself. I got myself in this mess.
That's right.
But I get a little hateful. Like, I mean, I don't really get a little hateful. I get a little, like, low-key hateful when I see my friends aren't sanding. I'm like, why aren't you doing this with me? Why aren't you sanding? What are you working on that you're not sanding? How'd you get out of that? How'd you make something that you didn't have to sand?
Why are you skipping the most important step of making
what's wrong with you? Don't you want it to look like glass? Oh. Gosh, it's crazy.
Oh, that's too funny.
I want to look like a human action figure. Everybody sand with me. I just need come to a sand party.
So do you have any other questions on your side?
I don't think so.
Or is that it?
No, that's all.
Well,
do you have any questions?
Well, so there was one last question, and it was more of a general question, not like specific, but somebody, I don't remember where it was at, but they asked if we were planning on talking about the weapons ban that happened recently at Phoenix Comic-Con. And I didn't really feel a need to address it per se, but we could talk about it real quick if you want.
I mean, here's the way I feel about things. So, like, I've talked about this a lot, like, in my private life about being safe at a con. Yeah. I had a really weird experience in Las Vegas with a guy that got kicked out. Luckily, it wasn't he was misbehaving with a video camera and saying some, like, crazy next level X-rated stuff. Yeah. And but not at me, just out loud in front of me while recording. And it was very. And there's a lot of kids at these cons.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely.
It was creepy, so creepy. And he was filming like very specific parts. And it made me very uncomfortable. So I said something to the person that booked me. And then he also did it to a couple celebrities. And their security then removed him. Oh, so, yeah. But I don't know what that guy was about. I don't know what he was doing. And luckily this con had pretty extreme weapons check. And that's fine. But that's good. There's weird people everywhere, as you saw recently with, the Ariana Grande concert. Like, that seems like a pretty harmless environment.
Yeah, right.
And it didn't end up being that way. So nothing's really safe. There's people that are just, irrational everywhere. And a convention makes me nervous. It was just a matter of time. I've been thinking about this forever as things, get a little crazy in the world. I love to see police officers at a con. Yeah. I love it. I love so much security. But unfortunately, officers get targeted, just like what happened with this. And that is terrible because I want a bunch of cops around so I feel safe. And then and then they're targeted. And so it's like, gosh, what do? Do you put them in plain clothes and these conventions have to pay for extra security that is, hidden low key, Secret Service style?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with us and our weapons.
That's the thing. I mean, it's. My take on the way they handled it, I think it was completely appropriate, and mostly because given the timing, as sucky, and it sucks, right? Everybody worked really hard on their costumes, and because they banned everything, you know. But the thing is you have to realize that those conventions, they take a lot to put together. Most people that are there are volunteers. There's not enough time, one night before to kind of retrain the whole staff into, okay, this is approved, this isn't, this is approved, this isn't, and so
it was too close to the event.
It was way too close to the event. So I think
their budget had already been completely spent. That's what you have to know about a convention.
I think for that specific con, I think that it was an appropriate reaction. Some people, and if people want to think that it was a knee-jerk reaction, that's fine. Let it be a knee-jerk reaction. I'd rather people not.
And it was. It had to be.
And it kind of had to be. And my guess is that the con didn't really have much of a choice, and it was probably local law enforcement.
Their insurance policy, the insurance that covers the convention.
That made the final call of we need this to be shut down. This is the decision. No props whatsoever. Yeah. Sucks for everybody at the con, sucks for the vendors, sucks for the people that spent all their time making props and weapons. I make props and weapons. I mean, I don't want props and weapons banned from the cons I go to. But for that specific con, for that time, for the timing of when it happened, I think it was totally appropriate, and I'm glad they handled it the way they did, because that was, it's going to prove to be a very unpopular thing, but so be it. Now,
and I don't think it's a sign of the times. I don't think every convention's going to do that. I think that was specific.
And I think that's kind of the knee-jerk reaction of the fans and the cosplayers, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to happen at every con now." I hope that's not the case. I think that people can still go to cons with fake weapons, and there can still be policies. There can be security check-ins. Things could be tighter. I think, if anything, it may be a call for some cons to realize that they might need to update or upgrade their security a bit and realize that that's more of the world we live in. Now, if some cons want to decide it's a complete weapons ban of all cosplay, I guess they have the right to do that. I don't know. I mean, no, I don't guess.
Isn't New York Comic Con one that already is pretty strict?
Yeah. I
heard they were really strict.
You can have fake weapons, but I believe, at least the last I remember reading about it last year, was the only ones you could have, they had to be either made out of foam or cardboard.
Okay, yeah, because I remember like the famous photos that went around with like the pictures of the trash bins and everybody.
So you could have stuff, but if it wasn't foam or cardboard, you couldn't bring it in.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but it's understandable. It's the times we live in, and it sucks, especially for somebody like me. I mean, my half of my free time is making cool weapons, to sell to people that can take to cons, So, but I think that there's a medium road there, and I could see some cons saying, "Hey, no really realistic weapons,
Or no, like metal rod cores.
Yeah. Like, but I can even say, if they want to say, "Hey, if it looks like a real world weapon, we're not going to let you have it in." I mean, I wouldn't like that, but I would understand if cons adopted that behavior. But I mean, if it's a 5-foot long Final Fantasy sword that's obviously made out of foam, is that necessary? I don't think it's necessary to ban stuff like that.
And you can hurt people with a lot of things that aren't a gun. Unfortunately.
Well, and here's the other thing: if you're going to ban real world weapons, then don't allow vendors that sell real world weapons.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
That's always driven me crazy.
Every con.
I know. You can't have that metal sword, but I can walk right into the con and buy one right now.
I know, and they're like, "Oh, but they boxed it up and it's tagged and they can't open it." What? Are you
serious?
And here's the other thing: is like, so okay, I've got a couple comments. One was the wings. The girl that had her wings taken at the German con. Okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah, that was strange. All
right, And then here's the other thing, like, because if somebody takes my wings, like, I'm gonna feel real clipped. Like, don't take my fair wings, please. Look, they're foam, I promise. And so here's the thing that a lot of people are saying, well, add metal detectors.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, I'm not against that. Look, they have them at PAX. That's fine. Here's the problem. There's a lot of metal in these costumes. Chicago screws, buckles. People are going to be lighting up like crazy. And then if everybody's okay with a slight rise in ticket prices so that they can hire security to check longer, and then also queues to get into the con being longer, that's okay. I mean, and I'm not saying that they're wrong for wanting metal detectors, and I'm not wrong for saying that it could rise ticket prices. The thing is, who has the good answer here? And is it going to be a blanket solution? No, it's going to be a case by case, state by state, country by country.
And that's the thing. And there's really no perfect solution. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing about it.
Yeah. I want to be safe. I want to feel safe.
Yeah,
and
the con I felt the least safe
in, I'm going to be real honest with you. I felt the most safe in Boston, the most safe in like all these big mainstream cons. I felt the least safe in Dragon Con.
Oh yeah.
There's no weapons check. There's cops that line the walls in the lobby. There's cops outside.
But it's kind of a big...
There's 100,000 people.
Yeah.
I have never felt so like somebody could really hurt people here.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
So, and that's the problem is, look, imagine if they added... So that's a perfect example. If we take Dragon Con, as it is now, and it's the entire city's police force is out in action. I mean, they are trying to protect you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's so dense.
Yeah.
If they added metal detectors outside every hotel, every entrance to every hotel, oh my gosh, and did weapons check at every entrance to all of those host hotels, do you know how long it would take to get in and out?
Yeah, it would never happen.
You'd be stuck forever. Like,
It would truly become. It would truly be. I mean, there's always a joke about whatever con you go to, it being line con.
Line con,
right?
yeah.
I mean, it would truly be line con.
It'd be outside con. No one would go inside. They just party in the streets of Atlanta, which they're already doing.
They're already doing so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, it might not be that different.
Yeah, but San Diego Comic-Con is, outside of San Diego, it's crazy too, and you see police everywhere, and but inside is obviously more strict. They check you to a degree, but it's just anywhere where there's a lot of people. It doesn't matter. Olympics, concerts. You're going to take a little bit. You're going to take a risk.
Well, the truth of the matter is, and it's an unfortunate thing, but we live in a world where where large gatherings. Doesn't matter if it's a con, doesn't matter if it's a baseball game, doesn't matter if it's a church assembly. Any large group can be a target.
Yeah. And that is that going to stop me from going to a convention? No, but do I think about it? Yeah, I do. I mean, because it makes me sad.
It's a legitimate concern for all of us, So,
yeah.
I think that covers that. I don't really have much more to say about it. So.
No.
But yeah, I just, in summary, I just hope that cons will react by beefing up security instead of just banning things. And I think,
I wish more than anything like the.
I think most of the community feels that way too.
Yeah.
Really.
And my like weird, I'm gonna get mushy for a second, just like 1 second. Plug your ears if it's too mush. But the one place where you can feel yourself and be the most accepted is definitely at a convention. So if you are struggling with something and you're sad and you're gonna take it out on people in a weird way, come hang out with some nerds, and I bet it'll change your perspective a little bit. We're a pretty loving bunch. We really are. Like, honestly, I've met some of the most diverse, interesting, accepting people, and like nothing, your religion, your culture, color of your skin, you could be hot pink. It doesn't matter. Like, and we are hot pink. Like, have you seen some of these animes? So like, it's a great place for kids and everybody. Everybody is welcome. Makers welcome. I mean, dude, I have you and I couldn't be more different in our life choices, and like, look how how great we get along.
I suppose so. Now I'm wondering how different are we? No.
Well, I mean, look at these buns.
Oh,
get out of here.
Yeah. Well, if I had the hair to rock the buns, I would totally rock the buns.
Oh, I wish you did. Yeah. I'll have to sew you a wig.
I do too. So. Yeah. I never, no, I won't talk about my past hairstyles because it doesn't really matter.
The fact that you started and stopped yourself, now my curiosity is mega peaked.
When I'm back in the day, I used to rock some good hair. I'm just saying. So,
dude.
Never had a mullet though.
I
lived through the mullet era, but I never had one. So, mostly because my hair, when I had hair, and it actually grew, in the back, it would just get really, really curly, and it would just curl up really bunchy in the back. So I could never really
That's fun.
pull off the mullet thing. So.
It's like a Davy Crockett kind of look.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. So.
Yeah, like curl it all around the bottom.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
What else do we have to talk about?
Was there any other questions? That covers the questions I had.
Are you enjoying your Wonder Woman sword?
Yeah.
Maybe. How many times have you cast it? How many have you made?
Up to this point, I've done 3 casts, and they were all what I would consider test casts.
What are you casting? What are you using? 300? I'm
just using 300 right now because it's such a
quick results.
It's such a good product,
It is, man. Dude.
And I've had a lot of people, is it hollow cast? Is it this? I'm like, nope, it's just a solid 300 because it's a pound. It weighs a pound. I mean, it's just it's not that heavy. It's not balanced, but that's okay. It's a resin sword, I mean, it's not going to be balanced.
What does that mean? Balance? What are you even talking about?
Yeah, have you ever held a balanced sword? Okay, so
yeah, just like whenever I go to the grocery store, I just see them on display and I can't help but pick them up and play.
No, I'm serious though. Have you ever held like a real sword that's actually been balanced or?
I'm sure in my life I have held a real sword. I just can't remember.
Yeah. Well,
they're heavy. I know that they're heavy.
Well, the thing is a truly balanced sword doesn't feel heavy in your hand.
Really?
Because your hand hand basically becomes a fulcrum. And the weight distribution, it's actually quite an amazing thing when you have like a truly balanced sword in your hand. It feels like you're not holding anything. But most
How have I not been down this rabbit hole? I'm obsessed with, like, I'm a history nut. And so, like, I love armor, and I have not gone down the sword rabbit hole. And now you have really given me something to look up.
But most props aren't balance swords because...
Well, yeah, but I'd love to know the history of, like, what they, like, blacksmiths, back in the day.
Yeah. So, anyway.
And when I say back in the day, I mean, like, 15, 16.
Yeah, you mean like way back in the day when they're like pounding swords out by hand.
Yeah.
So this sword I pounded out with clay. So there you go.
Well, it was beautiful. I went to order those tools that you recommended, and for all of you listening that bought the tools before me, rude.
Are they sold out? Are they really?
Yeah, it was said out of stock night before last. I was like, thanks, Eric.
I need to order another set because I broke one of them a while back.
The effect that caused, this is a funny thing, but like Danielle, Danielle, the cosplayer, Danielle, I call her Danielle Babelo. Her last name she posted this really, well, there's not a lot of Danielles in the community, so everybody knows cute little tiny blonde Danielle. Yeah. So she posted this breast mannequin top form, and it was a mannequin that actually had a bust for a change. I put it in my cart, and it was sold out before I got to buy it. And because it said like 39 left, they should have given her a commission because they were gone.
She sold them out, did she?
She posted it, and I was like, yes, finally one with the bust, and everybody bought it. And so I was like, dude, the effect that keeps happening though, because a lot of us, we say, we recommend something and we buy it because we know that, like, I don't know, there's not a lot of people in our community that like falsely endorse stuff. Like, I don't know how to word that correctly.
Well, yeah, it's like if you're gonna mention something, it's because
you love it or you hate it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you mention something that you like, it's like, oh wow, I trust this person; they're gonna use it. So
like I love to share. I love to share things I love. When I find something that I think is a deal or a game changer, like I posted a hairbrush the other day that, oh my gosh, as someone with hair down to her butt. Oh, this hairbrush is my life. And one of my like online friends bought it, and he's a guy. And he posted a picture with his like braided hair. And he's like, I love this thing. He was like, yes,
brush is the best. Well,
yeah, because it doesn't break my hair, and I have fragile hair.
Unfortunately, you're not going to get much hairbrush.
It has the nicest little like bristle nipples or whatever.
I don't think I've used a hairbrush in like 18
You don't do it just to like stimulate your scalp or like feel good?
I have like one of those little scalp stimulators.
Yeah. Ooh, I like those. I am somebody that just like I like to just scratch my scalp and just like massage it. I love how that feels.
Yeah. Same here.
It's like after that feeling after you take a wig off.
Yeah, I do actually, because I wear a wig.
Just made me think of that. I need one of those little like those spidery things to scratch my head after a wig. I hate wearing a wig.
That's a good feeling. Yeah, I've only worn a wig once, just for the cronk that I've done in the past, but I don't like wigs. No,
and you have short hair, so it'd be good for you. For me, it's like it is so hard. My Alice was my first wig costume, and I had to expand the cap and sew extra wefts in, and it took me a long time to sew extra wefts in just to hide my bun, because I tried the distributing of the
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with as much hair as you have, as thick as it is, I mean, how do you hide it all? How does
on the show the guy had to help me braid my hair? Like it was like a mega thing to get my hair under my wig for my costume that looked good.
I bet. I mean,
and I don't have much of a hairline, and I have a wonky forehead, so like my hairline, it's like its own, like a coastline of a country. That's what my hairline does. Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, you think people are gonna have straight hairlines? No.
I just like that you said you have a wonky forehead.
It is. It's wonky. It's not like, I don't know what's going on with my forehead. I wish I had more of a normal forehead.
I have a large forehead. It's like,
but it's great for wigs. So like if you ever did drag, it'd be great.
If I ever wore, I can't stand wearing wigs. I'm like really hot. I'm like super hot blooded person anyway. So it's just like. I don't even have to like do anything to like get hot and sweaty, and you could cover the second you cover my head with a wig, it's just like just drenched, and it's just like disgusting.
I'm not a very hot natured person, but I don't.
I totally am. I sweat.
I have this problem where I sweat and like I'll wear armor and I sweat, and all of a sudden I've stopped sweating and I don't, and I'm like, I'm fine, I can wear this for hours, but I realize I haven't had any water and I'm dehydrated. So like that's what happens in a costume for me. I'm like, why am I not damp? I don't understand. It's great.
And for me, it's like, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's guaranteed to like not sweat off, I can sweat it off.
Really?
How disgusting is that?
That's very Richard Nixon-y. I could totally give you a solution. If you ever need body paint, I got you. I bought the Richard Nixon spray.
Oh, really?
The sealer spray? Yeah, they created it for him.
Well, I actually would really like to do Yondu.
I don't know who that is.
From Guardians.
Your brother?
From Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 yet.
Wait, is Yondu Homeboy's Batista's character?
No. He's Michael Rooker, the head
of
the...
Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker gave me the biggest booby hug ever. he roams the con at Wizard World. And sorry, if there's any kids listening, mammary gland, they won't know that. It's fine. He walks up and he has his people following it, and he goes and says hi to everybody at the tables. And we had done a bunch of cons together, and I'm not saying I'm friends with Michael Rooker. But I'm saying I had seen him a bunch because he's this awesome celebrity that he would get on the microphone and say stuff. Yeah, and I have a very weird look. Yeah. So I would always wear Lich King on Saturdays for 4 cons in a row. And he kept seeing me as that. And he came up and gave me the best big shake hug in my armor and everything. And I was like, this guy's amazing. And he had his funny, ta-ta comment. But I love that guy's personality. He's so good to his fans. All the people, there were so many people following him around, and he would talk to them and make jokes. And you don't see a lot of celebrities like that.
No, he seems to really, really enjoy the people that appreciate him.
He loves what he does. So,
yeah.
And that's rare.
Anyway,
Norman Reedus, same thing. He's another guy. His flight got canceled and he missed a con. He booked a convention room for the next day after the con and invited all of his fans to come in and do a meet and greet.
That's totally cool. Yeah. So anyway, I always kind of wanted to do that character, especially after, because he has a bigger fin in the second movie. And
somebody's making that. One of our friends.
Well, do you know Bev from Down in Creative? Do you know her?
I don't know. Is she the one making it?
Well, she's making it. I know.
Okay, someone I follow has actually they molded it, they sculpted it, and they've molded it and cast it because I saw a picture on Instagram.
Well, Bev did a 3D print one, so might be a different person, but
I might have seen the 3D print one too. Well, I double tap. If I see something, I'm just da-da-da-da-da. And my Explore feed has so many fun things, and I saw that fin.
Anyway,
you should totally.
Anyway, Bev did an amazing job on hers.
Did she modeled it and everything?
Yeah, she did. She's incredible.
Fun. I'll have to look her up. I'm sure I've seen the 3D printed one, though. I feel like I follow that.
In fact, we'll have her as a guest one of these days. So.
Oh, cute. Yeah. I definitely want to have.
But the sweaty thing
about it, and I want to have him too.
Requires blue paint all over my face and forehead, and I just don't want to.
Oh, blue paint! Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? Why do we have to?
I was finishing I was finishing the reason why I would love to do. I just
couldn't hear you very good.
I would love to do Yondu, but I'm afraid to because I think I'll just look like a sweaty blue guy.
Well, I'll do your paint, and you will. It's fine because trust me, my Ganon paint is extremely hard to get off.
Yeah.
I set that stuff. I have the Aqua Seal stuff. There's green and blue, and one of them is a water base, and the other is not. It needs to be removed with the telekinesis remover solvent or whatever, which smells like gasoline. Ugh.
Wow, that sounds terrible.
You could go swimming with it. It's waterproof.
Okay.
And you use the pore sealer first. All of this is guys, I'm being real with you. This is that funny thing that's take me on a first date and get the makeup off. Take a swim in on the first date so you can see what she looks like without makeup. I dare you to do that. But I will paint you in body paint and you still won't be able to get it off. So that stuff is really powerful. Richard Nixon used to sweat a lot, so they sprayed it to stop from his nose and stuff and his forehead to stop from sweating. It completely seals them off. It's not something you should use every day. That I want to say that. I want to make that very
probably not.
Nothing that's heavy duty theater makeup is meant to be worn every day, obviously. But when you're in a costume, those are the times that you step out and you do something a little different. So underwater photography and stuff was something that I really explored when I was looking for long-term durable con makeup. Because if I'm in it a long time and it rubs and it gets wet,
you need it to last.
Yeah, so I drink water and spill it down my chin just all the time, every day. Yeah. So I was nervous that drinking water.
You just figured that you might as well just waterproof it all.
Might as well be waterproof, yeah.
Right. It's hard. So. The chin dribbles, it just kind of. What are you gonna do?
So, I can't even.
All right. Well, that puts us out. Yeah, we're at about an hour, so that pretty much wraps up our first Q&A.
Okay. If you guys have more questions, you can ask us, and then we'll do another one of these. It's really fun. Oh, what did I just click on?
I don't know. Did you do something?
Oh my gosh. Wait. What did I do?
Oh, no.
I fixed it. Oh, my gosh. So sorry. My mouse is right here, and I was peeling up some hot glue on my table. And I accidentally clicked
We're still here. We're still here just in time to say goodbye.
Hello. Yeah, we're going to say bye. It's wonderful.
All right.
So thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Yes, we do. Thanks to everybody. I'm glad that everybody's enjoying the podcast. And feel free to leave comments, criticisms. More comments than criticisms.
You can put criticisms, but if you come for my buns, I will come for you. No, I'm just joking. You can comment on my buns.
Comments or questions, and we can compile them again and do another Q&A episode sometime. So anyway, thanks again, and see you next time on Crafting Geek.
Yay! Bye!